Hello everyone, today I'm gonna share my Dualsword Master build for June the Demon. Specifically built for dual swords, and it basically lets you deal with any enemy easily with dual swords. So the build is actually really simple to make, and you can get a prototype of this in June the Strong, and then just adding the graces for June the Demon. So for the build, I'm using Master Swordsman, 5 Master Swordsman, 6 Benziton. This is a grace you can get in June the Demon. It's one of the strongest graces you can get, and it's perfect for this build. And also, we're using 2 pieces of Imperial World. This one's just to optimize our build to the maximum power. It's not necessary, but it is good to have. So this Master Swordsman build, Master Swordsman set is a set you can get from the Mystic Art Dualsword mission in the dojo, just by killing the Dualsword Master, and he's gonna drop this set for you. And so once you're in Dream the Strong or in Dream the Demon, and once you get the Mystic Art mission unlocked, you can just farm him to get the set really easily. It says super strong for Dualsword, as it gives us active skill key consumption 10%. It's always nice. The 4-piece bonuses give us 15% sign the cross damage. That's gotta be our main focus damage, is to abuse sign of cross as much as possible, because it does a lot of damage and it lets you in a relatively safe position after you use it. It's also super fast to use and just destroy any the HP bar of any human and yokai enemies. And the 5-piece set gives us increased defense and attack plus 40 for if you have Dualsword equipped, which is really nice. It gives it like more tankiness as well as more attack, more damage for our Dualswords. So I'm running 4 pieces of Master Swordsman, and the reason I have a 5-piece is I have this Yasakane equip, and it has the set bonus required -1. This accessory is definitely needed for this build, and you will get this at the very end of the last mission, Eye of the Beholder. It would just send you a free one, so you're gonna be good to go for Demon once you get this Lego. For the other pairing one, I'm using Benziton's Grace, this one. And these graces can pop out of anything that's not a set bonus, unlike random pickups you have. And ideally you want 6 of them, because you want to get this versatility boost. This basically gives you a maximum of 60% damage at 9 stacks, and you get 1 stack by using a unique active skill. And once you hit that 9 stacks 60% boost, your Silent Cross is going to do a ridiculous amount of damage, as well as any of your attacks, really. And this pairs really well as well with the Dualsword unique skill of Mind's Eye 2, where you get additional iframe from a misdodge. And this is going to give you a 100% attack boost. So pairing with that, your damage is going to just skyrocket with it. Your Sign of the Cross is going to do crazy amount of damage. Like, insane amount of damage. And you would just be spamming that and everything would just disappear. And so I'm running this like white bone, weather bone Dualsword, because it has imbue corruption. But anything with Benziton Grace would be fine. For my setup specifically, I have 2 weapons with Benziton's Grace, and then I have 2 range weapon with Benziton's Grace, as well as this like wrist piece with Benziton's Grace. The reason why the wrist piece is Benziton is you can use a Lone Wolf gauntlets. This is a medium armor, so you don't lose too much defense for going just pure light armor. But it's also one of the lightest medium armor, so it lets you have minimum in stamina requirement, or stamina investment to get B agility, and also not sacrifice too much defense and toughness. Lastly, let's talk about the last set piece I'm running, which is Imperial War 2-piece. So I get this by having the Soul Core buffs from the set, and this 2-piece is super good for Dualsword since it gives us 15 attack and defense. So it just gives us that little stat boost from having this single accessory here. And since it's an accessory, you don't have trouble blocking other slots from getting your Banzai and Master Swordsman. This is not required, however, since you can only get this in DLC 2, the third mission, the third main mission in DLC 2. So, like, if you haven't got to that point, or if you don't want to do the DLC because it might be too difficult, you don't really need this piece for this build to work in the first place. Ideally, you just want the Master Swordsman and the Ben Saitan. So after that, let's talk about what you want to get for each of these pieces, what you want to roll in the blacksmith. For the weapon, you want attack bonus strength for this build. That's going to give you the most amount of damage for Dualsword. And for this build specifically, we're running 99 strength. That's going to give us a good amount of damage. And right here, I have my weapon remodeled to strength. Notice that strength is A-. I have it remodeled to strength to give us just even more attack boost for my dual swords. The rest of the stats is ideally your choice. I'm going for melee attack key consumption and melee key damage. For the range weapon, you want them to have damage bonus agility on it. And when you have this equipped as your main range weapon, the one that you're using, you're going to get that bonuses, that agility damage bonus, even on your primary weapon. So that's a must, or it's just good to have. For the rest of the pieces, you want to get active skill damage, rolled on all of your pieces. You want to get that sweet active skill damage. That's going to equal to around 20% more damage for your active skill for your side of the cross. So individually, for the helmet, the best one you can get is elemental damage taken guarding. It's going to make sure that when you're blocking an elemental attack, you're going to take less damage from that elemental. It's nice to have. And if you want to completely nullify elemental damage, you can inherit the stats onto other pieces of your armor to get that 100%. For the chest piece, ideally you're on all the effects on this one. You definitely want the life recovery and retail bonus absorption. That's going to give you the main healing of this build. That's going to make you tanky as fuck. And have that sweet passive healing so you can sustain in the fight. You also want that elemental damage taken if possible. It's a 13% flat elemental damage taken that you can only get on the chest. And defense bonus is just there to give more tankiness, but it's definitely not required. It's for optimization. For the gloves, you want active skill damage and flat attack. Those are going to be the only ones that you really need. And ideally, you want a faster renew recovery on this one as well. Or any of the free slots you have on your armors. Because that's that you can roll on every armor, and you only need to roll it once. You only need one of them. One. For the pants, you want to get a key recovery bonus. That's probably the best one. I have dodge key consumption too, but it's really optional. And as said before, you can also just roll that faster winded on the dodge key consumption. And lastly, for the boots, there isn't any required stat you want to roll except active skill damage. And you might also want to get tenacity damage over time on the boots if you have free slots. Or just get it on the pants as well. I also have dodge key consumption here on the boots because there isn't really a necessary stat to get other than that. Moving on to our accessory, our Yasakane. You would definitely want to get life recovery and retail absorption and elemental damage taken. That's gonna give you this build the most amount of like sustain too, along with the chest. And as well as defense bonus magic is really good, or defense bonus courage. That's gonna give us like additional defense around like 30 or 40 additional defense for this build specifically. And so you're gonna be even more tanky. For the soul core box, you also want to get like defense bonus magic. Any other stats would be fine, and if you get a star effect like the melee damage via saturated enemy, that's totally awesome, and you should just keep it. I forgot to mention that for the armor, for remodeling the armor, you want to reinforce every single armor pieces. Notice at the very bottom where my back bottom button or back input is, I have my armor reinforced. That's gonna give us additional defense without sacrificing our equipment way. So we don't have to invest even more into stamina. We just have to hit that additional increase in stat requirement. And ideally, you would want to reinforce the accessory to get even more defense. Moving on to the scroll. The only necessary stat is increase attack winded enemy. You want this so whenever you winded an enemy, you get a 20% attack boost. That's gonna be super solid for this build. Just getting them more attack. You're just gonna dish out more damage. The other two stats would be entirely optional based on your interest or your choice. Ones that I would recommend would be damage bonus ninjutsu power or damage bonus Amio power. Anima charge is always welcome, letting you use more of your yokai ability and building that Anima gauge. Extended dodge invulnerability will be nice. Finishing filler will be nice too, and even like sentience charge or just melee damage. Yeah, but you just want to make sure that your scroll have this increased attack winded enemy, and ideally you would get a scroll with this as a lock stat, so when you clear you can just use it. So after we talked about the armor, let's talk about the stat allocations. I have 26 in stamina for my armor requirements after it's reinforced. 20 for constitution is also for the armor requirements for the gloves, the lone wolf. And we have 99 strength for our Dualsword skilling and giving us that maximum damage, as well as because our armor requirement is strength. When we max this out, we can essentially don't have to care about the requirement anymore. Make sure you have 30 in dex and 30 in magic. That's the soft cap for the maximum capacity you can get in magic and ninjutsu, and so that lets you get access and use more Amio and ninjutsu for this build. The 7 in skill, any investments in skill is optional. I put 2 in skill because it looks better when I have 2 points left. But you can really just put this, you don't really need to go into skill at all. 15 courage and hard, mainly for accessory requirements. but also just have a baseline of key recovery and maximum key. And lastly, 20 in Constitution. As said before, it's for the requirement, but also give us more baseline and HP. So having just 26 in stamina and 99 in strength coincident just happened to give us B agility. And we also have A toughness from this build, making it pretty solid. And 3,300 defense is enough to tank multiple attacks from enemy in the demon. And adding that with the life recovery you get on the chest and your Asakane, you're pretty bought off. You're really like pretty much tanky as fuck. Like you can just go ham on enemy and you should be fine. After that, let's talk about our Guardian Spirit status. So for this build, I'm using Gambu and Hyobition. I find Gambu to be perfect because it gives you damage taken and elemental damage taken, making you like even more tanky. And it gives you stored Omega magic so you don't get interrupted. Gambu also have one of the best Guardian Spirit attack that's gonna be discussed later. If you have Guardian Spirit Talisman and you use Gambu, you can guarantee launch an enemy. And that's gonna give you an opportunity to attack enemies. It's pretty solid. It also counts along with 24 slots, so that you can fit a lot of soul cores to begin with. And this also, you also get Gambu in the base game, so it doesn't require you to clear the DLC for this. Pretty solid spirit. On Gambu, I have Aberrant Soldier, Epon, and Kaisha. Kaisha is awesome. It gives you life drain on yokai ability hit by a lot, and faster movement speed when you absorb Amrita. So pairing this with extraction and life recovery and Amrita absorption, you're gonna be tanky, you're gonna be running fast, and you're gonna do a bunch of damage with Kaisha, and that's gonna heal you up to full HP. If you're ever like in trouble, you can just use Kaisha and you'll be fine. Same goes with Epon, our best boy over here. Epon is just a great interchange, in-chain spirit to use. Epon will give you a guaranteed stagger on enemy when you use it. So that's if I find myself in trouble. And I'm getting hit. I'm finding myself in trouble. Come on, hit me. I can just Epon out of it and stagger the enemy. Pretty solid. Epon also just do a lot of key damage. So then you can easily break enemy key with it. That's the Aberrant Soldier. I use Aberrant Soldier so that I can attack. I can cancel all my attack at the very end easily, or like just middle of the attack. It's pretty solid in chain soul core to use, but it's definitely optional here. Moving on to the secondary, I pair Genbu with Hyobition. Hyobition is mainly just because it has Brute and also has an attunement limit of 24. But your secondary can literally be anything. Makima is also a pretty good choice here, giving us like final blow damage as a pairing as secondary spirit. However, it has 20 attunement slots so that you can fit as many like soul cores in as Hyobition. On Hyobition, I mainly have elemental type of soul cores, like Roman giving us like fire and water potential, and lightning god giving us lightning, as well as the Onibi giving us a lightning imbuement on our weapon on demand. Lightning god is definitely optional since she's a DLC last mission boss. You can get her while you're grinding for the soul core box, but it's definitely optional. I definitely recommend having a lightning Onibi so that you can just apply lightning as a second element while in combat and without using your items. As well as Roman being just applying 2 elements at the same time will give you confusion on demand if they're not resistant to fire and ice. And so this setup gives you like a lot to work with. The secondary gives you confusion potential, while the primary give you good stagger and just follow in chain attacks. Pretty good. Lastly, let's discuss the jutsu and the item I use. So let's look at the right side. For the first shortcut selection, I have my buffs and my elixir. I like to keep it organized, so I like to put same items of the same category in the same place. But you don't really have to do that. You can do that based on your liking. For the second shortcut, I'm running 4 Guardian Spirit Talisman, 2 Lightning Familiar, and 2 Water Familiar. The reason for the Familiar is that it's going to let us consistently apply an element on the enemy. And lightning and waters, most enemies are vulnerable to lightning and water, so that's the reason I'm running these. As well as our Guardian Spirit can apply fire really easily from Kaisha, Ippon, or Royal Man. So that's why I'm running these 2 elements to kind of help with me applying element and causing confusion. The Guardian Spirit Talisman here is definitely optional. It's going to give us abilities to stagger enemy with Genbu in our middle of the combat if you need some time to breathe. But if you don't decide to not get this, I recommend getting other buffs like Barrier and Extraction, or even more Lightning Stop, as well as more Familiars too. So for the buffs, I'm running like 4 Barrier Talisman. Barrier Talisman doesn't last that long, especially since we're using the faster casting Mystic Arts. So that's why I'm running 4 of them. I'm running 2 Extraction to let us proc the Life Recovery and Retail Absorption when you hit enemy. It's gonna like spell out and retail after you apply Extraction. It's gonna give us really good sustain, and also give us the speed boost from Kaisha. Really solid. And we're running 1 Lightning Stop just because we have space. It's also great that if you apply Lightning Stop, you'll basically be immune to lightning application, so you will never get slow. And it's really handy against enemy like Lightning God of Yomi, who just abuses lightning everywhere. And so this is gonna help us survive against her. But this is definitely optional talisman right here. For the ninjutsu, we're running 2 quick change. Quick change is gonna let us revive ourselves if we ever take damage that just kills us straight up. I'm running 4 feathers, 4 fire feathers, and 4 water feathers, and 2 lightning feathers. The reason I'm using the tier 2 version is that they have better hitbox and really good elemental application. So just in case if you run off these and you don't have your soul cores, you can always use these feathers as a third option to apply a specific elements. I'm running 4 for the fire and water one is because they're just better. And the lightning one has really bad hitbox, but also against like small humans enemy or small yokais, but it's good against like fat, chunky, big yokai bosses. So how you're mainly gonna play this build, this Dualsword Master build, is that you want to stack up your versatility for Benzitin as much as possible, and you're gonna abuse the Sign of the Cross attack because it does a lot of damage on the enemy. And so this comes to our setup for our dual swords. You want to get as many like different kind of active skill on your dual sword customization so that you're able to get that 9 stack as fast as possible. The grapple itself count as, and the sneak attack, these count as 1 stacks. Your cherry blossom is gonna be 1 stack. Sign of the Cross is gonna be 1 stack. Windstorm 1 stack. Rajin 1 stack. Winter Wind 1 stack. That's 7 so far. Demon Thrust is 1. Shriek is 1 if you can get it on humans. Random Slice is 1. Moon Shadow is 1 on humans. And Mortal Flow is 1 on Mortal Flow, and Dual Dragon is 1. So total that's about like 11 stacks potential right there. You'll have to get comfortable with your attacks. And the best advice for versatility, I'm gonna tell you, is that just try and use all of them as many times as possible, and eventually you'll get the full stack. So I wouldn't worry too much about getting the stacks, and you'll just naturally get the stacks from thinking like that and playing like that. And once you have like 8 or 9 stacks, when you're almost getting that like full bonuses, you can just start abusing the Sign of the Cross right here. For Dualsword, the Mystic Arts doesn't really matter that much. I'm using Momentum because it's gonna give me key reduction in when I attack enemy, and so I can attack more. Firm Resolve is equally good if you just want to be super tanky. This will give you like up to 40% damage reduction easily, and it pairs well with multi-hit attack like Water Swords if you're gonna want to spam that. And so let me just demonstrate how I play on like random Yoki. There we go, that's 3 stacks already. Dual Dragon, 4 stacks. 5 from Windstorm. I got another one from Winter Wind, and another one from Duke Dot Grapple. Your Yokai Parry also counts as another stack. And then let's finish it off with Random Slice for that last stack. See how really tanky I am? Even after I get grabbed, he only does like half of my HP. And if I just perk my buff Extraction, I'm gonna easily heal back to full HP just from attacking him. I'll use him to burner. Get that juicy Sign of the Cross damage. So this last part of the video is just gonna be a demonstration for this build. You can actually easily build this build, and I specifically limited to level 200 so that it's a pretty easy to get margin. Easy to get level in Dread the Demon. So I'm just gonna showcase this build in Wave of Terror. This online mission that's at the 7th region. Dread the Demon difficulty. That's level 348. So enjoy the showcase and let me know how this build worked for you after you try it out. So that's it, folks. That's the Dualsword Master builds to help you easily beat Junior Demon.